Recording, check. Hey everybody, it's Steamboat. Welcome to the latest edition of Gearbox Review. The anti-grizzly food agency. So a couple of things today. Number one, my housemate's been doing a great job making the garden look good. I thought it'd lead into number two. We're just doing a pack out review. I'm going to go through all the items that I intend to take with me on my Colorado Trail Thru hike. So as I'm going through these items, if you're wanting to learn a little bit more about the items that I carry, I do intend to make some featured videos about all the items in my pack, so just stick around and stay tuned for that. Before I get started, just a little disclaimer, all right? So I've had most of these things for a number of years. There's only one thing, I think. Yeah, one thing, aside from like my camera equipment that I've decided to upgrade for this trip after conversations that I had on the Arizona Trail between my hiking partner and my brother-in-law. You're lucky enough to be able to see some of the first content that I'm creating with my new camera equipment. You can watch this video here of me pulling that thing out of a box if that's like your thing. Take a look at that. Yeah, so back to the gear. All these things I've carried, this is all through experience, all right? You're not gonna hear me talk about ounces. I'm not a gram counter. I just find things that are functional for me. I do try to make a big investment in gear that I think is going to be durable, that's gonna last me a long time, and that of course is going to be lightweight. This is something that I've been using because I found that it's just a kit that suits my needs. Of all the gear that I have in my gear closet, I think that this particular configuration is going to suit me really well on the Colorado Trail. Without further ado, normally the place that people want to start, or they want to talk about, yeah, what backpack should I get, all the rest of this. Usually you want to think about all the gear that you're carrying before you decide what backpack you're going to put it in. I do have a number of backpacks. I've decided that this one's going to fit the purpose that I have just because of the kit that I'm carrying, all right? So backpacks are usually going to be the last of your considerations when it comes to kitting yourself out. What I'm going to be using for the Colorado Trail is a Hyperlight Mountain Gear Southwest 3400. The pack.
Are you going to show them how you pack?
I've got another video for that. Next thing that is in my kit is going to be my sleeping bag. I'm using the Enlightened Equipment Revelation 20 degrees. So I've been using it. Usually when the temperatures are a little cooler, I do have a summer type bag. Enlightened Equipment will offer two different types of fills, a synthetic and a down. Their down is hydrophobic. Hydrophobic?
Hydrophobic, you said.
Oh, that's going to repel all the water, you know, hydro, water phobic, it's afraid of. So somehow these feathers are afraid of water. It's amazing. It served the purpose for me really well. It's old reliable. It's nice. You can get it in customized colors, different temperature ratings, different lengths, depending on exactly what you want. I opted for a nice dark color on the outside so I can dry it in the sunlight, so in case it gets wet with condensation. And a nice bright color on the inside because you can turn this thing inside out. Use it as a signaling device. Even your sleeping bag can be a dual purpose. Look at that. I got my stocking cap, so when it gets cool, it's nice to have just a cap for the evening time, especially in this quilt. So there's not going to be a type of hood. So one thing I'll have is just like a hooded insulating layer plus my stocking cap, and that works just as well, if not better, as a hood. And then I don't feel like I'm trapped inside of a sleeping bag. It's really important. There's no back to this, right? It's basically just a blanket. So to make sure that you're going to be able to stay warm under conditions that you intend to use a 20-degree quilt in, right, it's going to be important that you pair it with a really nice sleeping pad. I just realized the reason why I'm not too concerned about how much everything weighs is because I've got so many luxury items. So everything that I go through in my kit, I will kind of make a disclaimer like this could just be optional for you. Of the two things that I've already talked about, your pack and your sleeping bag, those are both going to be essential. All right, back to the kit. My next two things in the kit are going to be integrated with my sleeping system. I do carry an inflatable pillow. I don't know, it's a pillow from Sea to Summit. It inflates, it's amazing. I'm also carrying the Sea to Summit Ultralight Insulated. You saw how small it was to begin with, and it's just this nice sheet. And as you can see here, it's going to inflate nicely. It's got you know, some dimples, it's insulated, it's nice and warm and comfortable. All right, I normally will carry the sleeping pad in its stuff sack. So Sea to Summit's got this nice contraption. It's like an inflatable bag. It's like a, what do you call this? A blow bag? That doesn't sound right. Pump bag, there we go, a pump bag.
What would you need a pump bag for?
Okay. And why is this such an amazing contraption? All right, so they've got an integrated valve. This valve is going to be compatible with both all of their, what are these things called? Sleeping pads, all right? So what's ideal about that is, one, it's gonna take less effort from you at the end of the day when it comes to blowing up your sleeping pad. The other is also for to keep the moisture and condensation out of the inflatables. As you're respirating, all right, a little bit of condensation is gonna go inside of there. That can be detrimental for the material. It could potentially cause its failing. The valve on the pillows, on the new ones at least, are a little bit smaller. All you have to do is just turn the valve inside out, and lo and behold, there is a small valve. Their design team is really good. I've used a lot of gear from Sea to Summit. I bought all this stuff with my own funds, so this is an endorsement, but seriously, like, they are great. All right, so that basically covers most of the essentials, right? So the big three, as they say, the big three, number one being the pack, number two being your sleep system, number three being your tent. Your tent, yeah, the tent will come next. I've got the Big Agnes Fly Creek HVUL2. That's a mouthful. So it comes with all these different things. Normally they're gonna pack it up in this thing right here. You don't have to keep it like that, right? You don't have to do that. You don't have to stuff it all into one thing, right? They come apart. I see people get it in their mind that they got to keep everything together, all right? You just got to keep everything in your pack. That's what the pack is for. So I'll separate all these different things out. This will live outside. This will also live outside of the pack, outside pockets. But this will usually stay inside, somewhere like near the top, matching the conditions, all right? So if I'm not expecting rain, then I'll just like have the bug fly out, or maybe not at all, because then I can just dump all my stuff out at the end of the day. It's no big deal. And then a footprint. It's nice to have a footprint. This can be whatever the manufacturer is going to sell you. It can be polychiro, which is basically like a thin plastic, like the colder places, and they'll put it over their windows, right? It's like a plastic window dressing. Tyvek, which you've seen, you know, the home wrapping. Some sort of shelter, right? It doesn't have to be a tent. It can, you know, it can be whatever you got. Whatever matches the conditions is what I would suggest. So when it comes to matching the conditions, right, the best way to match the conditions with our bodies is to clothe it. And with all these clothing items, I am expecting temperatures to be like around the 40s or something. I think that I can use all this stuff in combination and just get nice and toasty. Everything that I have in my clothing, all right, I normally put in this thing that I call a blue bag. Where is it? Which is just a blue stuff sack. It's real convenient, all right? The name is the thing. Inside of this bag, all my extra clothes, my dry clothes, my suit clothes, the things that I need, you know, that I'm gonna need to stay warm. So everything that I carry, all my clothing. 3 pairs of socks. 3. Right, so you can have 1 pair of socks that this one lives primarily with my sleep system. At the end of the day, it's just really important to keep your feet dry and warm. As you're getting into your sleeping bag, put on some dry socks. You're gonna be much happier that way. These other 2 pair, all right, one's gonna live on my feet. When these ones get gross, then I put these ones on. When these ones get gross, then I try to wash these ones out in a creek or something like that, or whatever else is most civilized. 3 pairs of socks. The other things that I have for additional layers and for my nighttime clothes, I've got 2 just kind of lightweight base layers. So one of these is just kind of like an athletic shirt. I've had it for a while. It's kind of starting to fall apart, which makes me sad because it's my favorite, but you know, that's okay. It's still coming with me. With my leggings, right, these are Patagonias. These are like mid-weight, like the Capeline. Is that how you say it? Capelines. I don't know. These are just like Patagonia mid-weights. And I'll wear these like in the morning if it's really cold, or usually just at the nighttime. Just an insulating layer for your legs. And then for my sort of mid layer, I do carry 2 mid layers because that's what I like to do. My first mid layer is actually very lightweight. This is an icebreaker hoodie. You can't find this thing online anymore because I've been looking for it, and it's really bumming me out because just like my long sleeve athletic base layer, you know, this thing is seeing some use, which also makes me really sad. I'm on the Colorado Trail. I was really hoping to be able to, you know, replace this thing in Leadville, but I don't think that's gonna be possible either. So hopefully, maybe I'll do a special on this one just to see if this hoodie makes it. So that was my first insulating layer. My second insulating layer is this, who makes this? North Face Thermoball. I've also had this for a number of years. I've had most of my things since 2016. I've replaced very little. I found the things that I love, which are starting to fall apart, as you've seen. To include this jacket. When this was brand new, it was really warm. I would recommend it, but like after maybe a season of just like really tough abuse and laundering, it's a synthetic fill. They filled it with these little dots. They're like almost equivalent to cotton balls. When it's brand new, they're like more square and they fill out all those little pockets a little bit better. Over time, the filling has started to pill up a little bit inside of those squares, and you can fill the gaps. So that's also one reason why I carry that other hoodie. Just 1 extra layer, and so this isn't even like that warm anymore. I've learned the limitations of this thing, so I'm just like learning to work with it. So the clothing that I'm not going to carry, right, this doesn't get included in your base weight if you're keeping track at home. I'm not keeping track at home. I'm still clueless. Whatever. So all the stuff that I'm not going to be carrying in my pack, of course I'm going to be wearing. I also have this pair of Ex Officio boxers. They're pretty good. You don't got to wash them. Ex Officio is a travel company, and so these are like travel boxers, like microbial resistant, and they're mad science in a boxer brief. Just I got these little like, you know, Columbia shorts. They're pretty fun. And then I also just got this like, you know, plaid adventure shirt that someone was kind enough to send me on the AT when I was at Harper's Ferry. So mad props to that person. Thank you. One thing that you'll hear is that you're going to pack your fears. One of my fears is hypothermia. I do like to make sure that I'm going to stay warm. With all these different pieces that I have in my clothing system, I can combine these in different ways depending on the conditions that I'm facing. Through my experience, I have a lot of trust in what this is going to be able to do for me in the varying conditions. A couple of other little things, and this is totally optional. I do have a couple of bandanas that I bring with me. One will go on my shoulder pocket, you know, just kind of hanging off of my shoulder strap like that. Another thing that could be optional is I wear a buff around my neck. The thing that I like about the buff or having a bandana, it does a couple of things for me. One is it keeps the sun off of my skin, and I do like to wear a ball cap. You know, if it is sunny, I don't like those big wide brim hats. I find that they catch wind and tend to fly off of my head. You know, I like to have a lot of coverage. This is one thing that I learned. This is one thing you learn when you grow up in Arizona. Keep the sun off of your skin. It's just one thing that I like to do. So it could be a buff around my neck. It could be just like a bandana, you know, a Foreign Legion style under the ball cap. Something to keep you both cool and keep a little bit of sun protection. Weather protection. When it comes to weather protection on a thru hike or any type of long hike, just expect everything. Mountain weather is crazy. And you're going to be out there the entire time. You're going to be exposed, so really just be prepared for everything, you know, like 3 seasons wise. Normally I'll carry a rain skirt, but I think that the bugs might be kind of an issue. And if it's cooler at night, then just having shorts and a skirt isn't going to work for me. So I think I'm just going to carry these pants. These are just frog tog pants. I did have a matching jacket, but the zipper is busted on it, so I've only got the pants. I'm not going to go buy another kit. This is an outdoor research. It's just like a Gore-Tex jacket. As you've guessed, I've had this forever. I know how to use it really well. It's got pit zips, you know, so it can just basically turn into like an over poncho, a little bit of warmth in, keep some of that cold precipitation off of my body. Combining these two, it can also work really well. Coming over a pass and it's really windy, it can work really well for the wind protection. Sun protection, unless you want to bake, which I don't recommend this during the summertime. It can also be good for the bugs. So thinking about all these things, think about the type of rain gear that you might want to bring with all these different considerations into mind. It's not just for the rain potentially. A couple more foul weather things. I haven't made up my mind about these just yet. These are part of my normal kit, and this is going to be just some like rain mitts, right? Because I don't like my hands being cold. It's awful. And then these are just some wool gloves. These gloves don't have a face and it won't focus. There we go. I've been through so many gloves in the past. These are just a couple of real simple gloves that I got from an Army surplus store. They were like $8 and they have performed extraordinarily well, and I will always go back to Army surplus for my gloves forever. There's a good chance I'm going to bring this with me. Whatever. All right, it's just a bug net. So what's nice about the bug net, aside from just keeping the bugs out, it's that flattering. It is that flattering. What? That can't be right. I think I normally wear a hat in it. I think that's what goes in this little thing, this reservoir, you might say. All right, what's nice about the bug netting, all right, aside from just like keeping the bugs out of your face, it does kind of act as a container. So you can use it as a stuff sack, so it is enclosed. You know, you can potentially put things in it. This little sack itself can act as a rock bag. So when you're going to hang your bear bag, put little rocks in here, tied around your bear bag, throw it over. Both being incredibly flattering, keeping the bugs off your face, and being really, really hot. It could act as a stuff sack and a rock bag. All right, also for rain and sun protection, we can use an umbrella. It's a nice silver reflective umbrella. You've probably seen them on trail. You can see them for miles. Oh, haha, you thought I was gonna do it. It's really light. It's made out of carbon fiber structure. Yep. I do, where's that?
I think it might be behind you.
A little sil nylon pack cover, go over the pack. Okay, that was clothing, plus rain gear. All right, next up on the list is gonna be all the cook kit, everything that I'm gonna need to survive. Essential for the survival is going to be clean water. What I'm bringing is a Sawyer Mini. All right, you may take issue with the Mini because of its reduced flow rate compared to, I guess, like the big one, the other filters that are out there. I bought a bunch of these mini filters when I was in Arizona on the Arizona Trail, and the water sources were disgusting. I didn't know if if the filters were gonna survive that water. This is totally a bomber. As you can see here, that picture in the middle is water that I pulled from a tank. Clear water bottles on the left and right is what the Sawyer is able to filter through. If that right there isn't enough information to inspire some confidence in this filter, then I don't know what is. And just attach this Sawyer to the bottle, you know, and this does get factored in the carrying capacity, right? So 1.5. That should be good, but I also don't mind dry camping and carrying some extra water if need be. A really convenient way to do that is just these collapsible platypus bottles, right? I got 2 of them. They're pretty light. They roll up really well, so they're there when I need them and they're not when I don't. There's a lot of different ways that you can acquire clean water. This is just the easiest method for me right now and for what I'm kind of expecting. Not expecting any disgusting water this time. It's Colorado, it's not Arizona, so that's nice. cook kit is the pot, the cook pot. All right, this is an ever new ultralight 0.9 liter. It's got red handles, some sort of silicone coating, so it's supposed to like not get as hot, but you know. You put a little pot over a stove like this, right, the handles are still gonna get hot. All right, I just got this. The things that I carry inside is a little can opener, it's just an extra lighter. And then I have a handkerchief on the inside. And it's just a small handkerchief. This does a couple of things. One, it acts as my little dish rag, and so I can just get all the little like food particles out of the bottom of the pot at the end of the meal, and then it's nice because it also keeps everything from sort of rattling around here. My stove that I'm going to be carrying is the Pocket Rocket. Just the old school one. All my stuff's old school. Old school ultralight. The new one's got little folding arms, so it is more compactable. This will just go on top of a little fuel canister. You know, I'll just carry this little one because it's what I got for the time being, and just plan on resupplying on fuel cans when I get to where I'm going. And this cook pot's not going to come with this. This is just like a little reflexive koozie that I made. You can go to like an auto parts store or something equivalent to that, get some little insulating foam, some tape, and you just like kind of make a customized little koozie. At one point, it did fit all the way around the pot. Just through time, I think like it's been thermally shrunk. Little pot goes in its little sack. And the last little part of the cook kit is my spork, aluminum spork. I would recommend getting something with a long handle. The reason why I'd recommend getting something with a long handle is that when you get your little backpacker meals, they come in this bag. Normally those bags are a large shape. So when you're putting your little like spoon into that bag, if your spoon is smaller than the bag is, then your hand's got to go into your food. And that's a bummer. I've also got some cordage, 50 foot of cordage for bear hangs if necessary. One thing that I'm trying out this time, this is probably one of the few things kit-wise that I did buy. All right, is this Ursac Major XL. This is a bear-proof bag. It's certified by some anti-grizzly agency. It's not anti-grizzly. It's like anti-grizzly food. Anti-grizzly food agency. That's not what they're called. It's like 15 liters is the total capacity with this. I know that I like to carry a lot of food. I was using the CPAX food bag, and as you can see here, the critter did get into it while I was in a food locker in the White Mountains, so that just goes to show you. Ursus Major, you know, where it gets its name is the Great Bear. It's just a bear sack. I don't know exactly what it's like made out of it. I'm not like a material engineer. All I know is that you can watch another video online of a bear going to town on this thing for like 15 minutes and he never gets inside of it. So there's a nice little like attachment system that's here. Anybody can tie it because you just make a couple of like overhand loops in a very particular way. Also going to be like an op sack is what they call it, and that's going to just be another additional plastic bag that goes inside of this. To seal it off is going to be odor proof, so you can get an odor proof sack inside of this bear proof sack. The combination of these two things is going to inspire a lot of confidence in me, just knowing that there's, you know, hungry bears that are out there and they're not going to be eating my honey buns. All right, so the last part of the kit is going to be the smaller items. I usually like to organize all these small items basically by their function. Each functional set is going to go in its own little stuff bag. First one I've got is what I call my orange bag. You know, the poo bag. I got just like toilet paper, an extra plastic bag, you know, to pack out any waste, some hand sanitizer for cleaning of the hands. And the reason I have a snow stake is that I use this as my cat hole digger. That's the orange bag, you know, it's the poo bag. So, and then the last little organizational set that I have all put into a stuff sack is going to be everything that I call my yellow bag. I just prefer stuff sacks, right? So just have these little sets of things and they all just kind of like organize them all, just how I've kind of needed them. In the yellow bag, it's going to be anything that I'm going to need like as far as personal hygiene goes or anything that I'm going to need in the case of an emergency. So it's just both hygienic and for first aid. First thing is sunscreen, all right? So when you're up above tree line, when you're hiking around, even in the wintertime, right, you get solar reflection off of the snow. In the springtime especially, before the trees have leafed out, sunscreen's always good. Next thing I've got is a personal locator beacon. I don't know which one this is. I don't know what model it is. It's something that my family gave to me. Every time I tell them, hey, I'm going out, they say, hey, do you have that thing? And I say, yeah, I have the thing. And I just check in with them every once in a while. It gives them peace of mind. You know, the most important thing about this, I think, is number one, is that I can check in with my family and make sure that they know that I'm okay. The reason why it gives them peace of mind is that if I do come into any sort of danger, and if I just lift this thing up, I hit that scary red button, they send a helo for you. Just knowing that that could potentially change the outcome of my fate, you know, I'm willing to carry it. And here's just a little repair kit for the sleeping pad. I've also got some like Gorilla Tape that's sort of up in there. And then with the last little bag is my first aid kit. So I got some wound closure things, some things to like take care of some cuts, triple ointment, antibiotics. One thing that I especially recommend with first aid, all right, is get some training. You know, get some training in first aid. You know, if you do have the time and the money, get some professional level training. You know, get a wilderness first responder. It's a great thing to have. I've had to use, you know, medical training every time that I go out. If it's not on myself, it could be potentially on somebody else. But then also just having the skill set to recognize, you know, potential problems and health emergencies that could be happening in the backcountry. Like, you know, you could be in a position to really help somebody. So helping yourself, helping other people, and that's just another part of staying safe. If you know a lot about first aid, you know what conditions you maybe are more willing to accept and maybe not. You know, maybe it's not the best idea that at the end of the evening as temperature's dropping and, you know, it's been raining all day and it's 50 degrees, but I still feel pretty good, you know, that I should just continue hiking. You know, maybe that's not the best decision at that point. And you'll know that if you've been trained in first aid, because you recognize some of those symptoms. In addition to everything else that I'll carry in my yellow bag is going to be like a toothbrush, my toothpaste, nail clippers, and this little thing I call my blister kit. I do carry a compass in case that I do get disoriented. Maybe I fall into a creek, all my electronics, you know, die, and I've got to rescue myself. That's going to come in handy. I do also carry an extra dry bag, just because. I do carry trekking poles, so I got my walking sticks. Those will come with. Look at this pile.
Don't get it in your bag.
This last part of my kit's going to be both very optional and very personalized depending on what it is that you're carrying. All right, so this is all the electronics bag. So I just like have this little converter that I bring with me. It's got a dual port. So I do use the cell phone. I do use it for both navigation, for playing music. And then all the cordage that you need. Lightning cable, like micro USBs and all the rest of that. Whatever cords that you need that are going to be compatible with the devices that you're going to need to charge. Now I'm here just hanging out shooting some B-rolls, and I just realized that I was using my headlamp as one of my lights to shoot, so don't forget to pack your headlamp. So to charge all my equipment while I'm on trail, I just use this little Anchor battery bank. This is a 10,000 milliamps. They use a lot of different sizes of that. All right, for this, for one person, for myself, then I can, you know, if I'm charging my cell phone at the end of every day and I'm using that a lot, then this maybe lasts me about 5 days. I can get about 5 charges, full charges. If I'm not, you know, if I'm using it sparingly, you know, I can push it to about 10 days. Usually I'll just use this at the end of the day, you know, just got a little USB port, use my cordage, plug it into my device, just let it do its thing, charge back up, roll into town, try to pirate some power off of somebody to charge this thing back up so I can get on going. So there you go, that's a little walkthrough of everything that I'm going to be taking with me on my Colorado Trail Thru hike. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I think my housemate's putting some things together, going to put together a little fire, so I'm going to go and check that out.